What's going on, people? Sugar daddy simps. All right, let's get right into it, right? So, I remember when I was a young boy. A young boy. A friend of my parents used to always hang out right outside the building where I grew up. Religiously, faithfully, every morning before my mom took me to school, I would see this gentleman. Paid it no mind. But as a kid, I listened and I observed, and I was always one to, I was very inquisitive. So I always overheard the adults talking, but I never said anything. I just kept my mouth shut because I learned children, don't meddle in the affairs of adults. So I learned that real young. And I would hear the adults talking. This particular man, what he would do, he would stand outside the building, have his newspaper, cover his face, and when he would see a young girl walk by, it's this. And guess what? A couple times, I remember as a child, I used to take the elevator up and down, right? But one morning I would take the elevator down and up, coming back from school, whatever. And I'd see the guy with the girl. I mean, this dude was an old man. And I'm seeing him with this young girl. My father used to hang out with his friends in the building. They had their own, hangout place, apartment. This man, it was his spot. It was his spot, right? In other words, it was his apartment. And he would, entertain his friends, and my father would be there too. But then this guy, this old man, would bring young girls to the... And the guys would be in an uproar like, no, you can't do this here. What are you doing? A couple times they actually got physical and had to put some physical work in on this guy to tell him, hey, well, you need to stop. And it was his apartment. I mean, but still, what are you doing? Picking up girls off the street, reading the paper, but he's not reading the paper. He's watching these girls. Vulnerable young girls, impressionable young girls, innocent young girls. I would overhear the adults talking about how the guy, this is what he does, and they can't stand him for that. They couldn't stand him for that. They beat him up. He didn't stop. I've seen him with a couple girls. When I was a child, I remember this. He would offer them money. This is what I would overhear. He's offering them money for favors, in exchange for favors. You see, and it even got so to the point where I'm overhearing conversations about how the girls would just go to this old man for money because there was no money in the home. There was no money in the home. There was no male figure in the home. Okay? And you wonder why You wonder why there's certain social ills that exist in the world, right? We wonder why, and some people just, I can't believe how, these girls can end up, being trafficked, be kidnapped and smuggled all through the world in these improper, illegal prostitution trafficking rings across the country. How they could end up on the streets selling their bodies. How they could end up in the entertainment industry, the sex entertainment industry, multi-billion-dollar, I'm sure it's $1 trillion industry. Because you have this old, you have this old, these things, this abusive conditions that young girls are under. I remember 2 of them, they would talk about explicitly, who were fatherless and mom was strung out. Because these guys knew the family. They knew the family of these girls. They knew the mothers. But we have the penal system. You see, the problem is, it's deeper than what's on the surface. The problem is much deeper than what's on the surface. Okay? You have these conditions that people are living under that are deplorable. And I'm not talking just about physical conditions. I'm talking about socioeconomic conditions. I'm talking about lack of education, lack of resources, lack of job, lack of motivation, lack of support. That existed by then, that still exists to this day. That still exists to this day. Because you have these seedy individuals that are out here. Everything is not sweet. Everything is not potpourri. Everything is not pretty. You have these seedy individuals that are out here looking to prey on young girls. And when I'm talking about girls, I'm not talking about 18-year-old. I'm talking about under 18. Children, kids, minors, babies. Where are the fathers?